I'm back again. This time I'm looking at prompt 11 from last year's Crafty Cat 50 stack challenge. This is where Amy did 50 guest checks, which measure approximately 6.5 by 3.5. I haven't got guest checks, but I'm doing similar sized ephemera holders. And I am basing my designs on Tracy Fox's December daily from last year. So this is what I did for her last year's challenge, I guess you'd call it. That's what I made using Tim Holtz paper. I wanted to do something similar. So this was my sort of prototype for this one. And this is the one, I did it very similarly. I had got another couple of these Tim Holtz people. So I did something very similar, and I used the packing paper here as a little notepad in the middle with a pocket underneath. This time I covered my card, as I've been doing for a lot of these. So I really liked that one. It was quite thick. I wasn't sure whether people would like that one for a journal. So I was going to redo it in the Tim Holtz paper with this gentleman, which was the only large person I had left. But that didn't really inspire me. So I've gone back to plan B, and I'm going to do it with a motif on the floral on the front cover, a square or a rectangle. And this time I haven't used packing paper because I didn't have any. Well, I had a little bit left, but I wanted to use it for the one I'm going to show you. So this is what we're going to make today. So we'll get started. She says, if I can remember how I did it. So I started with a piece of card, not that piece of card, this piece of card, which should measure 10.5 by 6.5. Okay. So getting my scoreboard, and we're going to score it. We're going to score it at 3.5 and 7. So that's our initial folds, and then I'm going to turn it over onto the opposite side, and I'm going to score it at 1 3/4 and 8 3/4. So that should be our basic shape. I'm hoping this is all going to line up. Sometimes the scoring is a little iffy. So this one is just slightly over, can you see? So I'm just going to pull this to that edge as I fold it down. And that should be enough. It's close, but I think that'll work fine. Even with the paper covering it, it shouldn't make too big a difference. So just easing that over. Okay, and then we need to cover it with our paper. For this one, I used, I think I used 2 pieces for this, if I remember rightly. So I covered from there to there. And then this side, you choose your bits how you like. So I'm just going to use glue stick to do these. And then the same on the back. I covered these two edges first. It's hard for me to show you without cutting them down. So I just did that one and that one. And then I think I used book page on the very back one. So you can stay with me if you want to for this, but it is a bit long-winded. So I'm going to go away, I think, and glue these. They will need to dry thoroughly as well before we refold them. Otherwise the folds crease a bit, buckle a bit. So I shall go away and do this and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've literally only been gone a few minutes this time, and I refolded a bit early before everything was completely dry, so you can see here the paper has buckled slightly. I'm not too worried about that. Leave it to dry completely and that won't happen. Or if you're worried about it, you can do what I've done here and just paper up to each fold line. So you do it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 sections. I couldn't be bothered to do that, which is why I've done it this way. But it works, it's fine. Now I'm going to cut my tag shape at the top. For this inner piece, I've got my packing paper and I'm going to cut this down so that it's slightly smaller. I'm going to cut it to 6 1/4 by 3 1/4. I'll just do that. That'll fit comfortably in there, and again I'm going to take the corners off. So that'll go in there like so. See, I mess that up slightly. Before I'm going to glue this in, but I'm going to zigzag across the top there, so that'll just bunch those 4 pieces of paper together. I'm also going to sew around the outer edge of this all the way around this front edge, so all the way round with a straight stitch, and I will do that next before I do anything else. I also want to cut down my image to, oh, both quite pretty. Which one we're going to use? Anyway, the image measures 2.5 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to go away, zigzag across the top of this, stitch around the outer edges of this and cut my image down to the correct size. Okay, so we're ready to put this thing together. I've just used a pale stitch this time, so it's probably hard to see that, but I've gone around the outer edge. This is our image. I've mounted it on a little bit of the card with just a very thin border, just to add a bit of definition, and I've zigzagged around that, zigzagged across the top of this, and I've got a glassine bag here that measures, mine measures 2 3/4 by 4.5, and I'm going to cut this down to about 3.5. Just going to cut the top off it. and this is just going to sit in the bottom just to add another dimension really. You could, I suppose, use these. Somebody asked me what I use these for, and as I've often said, I don't, sorry, I'm very crooked, let's straighten you up, sorry about that. I make these because I enjoy making stuff, not really for any other reason. Not even that bothered about the finished article, to be perfectly truthful. But you could use, I mean, I use these in my journals and as happy mail, as I'm sure many of you would. They can be used as gift card holders, so a little pocket at the back here for a gift card would work quite well. Just putting this in with some white glue. So that sits in the bottom there. Oops. Let's try and get it central. There we go. Nearer. This I'm going to put along the top. Getting a bit low on this glue, so it's taking me ages. Let's use that and store it upside down. Just fits in the centre there. I'm just looking for a playing card just to go in here. Vintage playing card. And then to put our image on, I want it in the middle-ish, as close as I can get. So I only need to glue half of it, obviously, because we need to be able to open this. So I am just going to very lightly pencil and then glue it . I can't make my glue work. This glue is a little bit runny, but we'll try this one. Okay. Line that up with my pencil line. And that should work perfectly well. So I've got glue all over me. So the only other thing we need to finish this off, I did put some extra little pieces on here. I put a couple of labels. You can put those or not. Let's see if we've got anything that immediately would look nice. Maybe not in that one. These Tim Holtz numbers. They're a bit wide. That one would work. The red picks up nicely. Moral of this story is to check your glue bottles before you start doing a tutorial. We're struggling with all of these. Let's go back to this one. That one. That would be nice, but it's a little big. You could have it, could cut it down the middle. A bit heavy maybe. That's that one. There we go. Maybe we'll have that one. This one just comes out so fast. Okay, and a ribbon. Something like that. I think a very pale one would probably work best. I think I'll just go for the sort of oatmeal. And we can go around once. And there we go. I'll sort all my glue out in a minute. So that's the finished article. It's actually quite a simple one, which I think turns out really quite nice. As I say, this was the original number 11 for last year's Tracy Fox. And then these are the 3 that I've had a go at for you. So hopefully you'll enjoy this one, and I'll see you all again soon.